Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk Tech with Data Dave. I'm Alexis, and I am the Operations Associate at D3 Clarity, here with Data Dave to answer all of my data questions.
Good morning. Good morning, Alexis. I'm Dave Wilkinson from D3 Clarity, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer. I'm one of the founders of D3 Clarity, and we're a small organization focused on providing data engineering, high quality data, data management, and next generation infrastructure for organizations that are looking for transformation into a digital age.
I'm a super non-technical member of the staff, so my favorite part is to sit here and ask Dave all of my burning data questions, and then hopefully soon ask him some of your burning data questions. Talk Tech with Data Dave is brought to you by D3 Clarity, offering clarity for improved decision making. D3 Clarity delivers profitability multipliers through better data and digital infrastructure. For more information, contact D3 Clarity at d3clarity.com. So today we're going to talk about data mining because Dave brought that up last week when we were just talking about data in general. So Dave, here's the question. What is data mining?
Good question, Alexis. The data mining is a term that was coined in the 1960s to really describe the exploration in data for interesting information and knowledge from data. People have also used data fishing, snooping, experimentation, etc. And it comes from the basic idea that in this mass of ore, think of a mountain, that is your data, a large mountain of data, there is some interesting nuggets of information, right? There's precious metals in them, their hills, right? So we're mining for those precious metals in this mountain of data. So in the transformation, and you think about data leads to information that leads to knowledge from that perspective, what you're really looking for, and as we look into an analytic and digital age, we're looking for answers to interesting questions in the masses of data that we collect. Right. So what are the nuggets of precious metals that are hidden somewhere in them, their hills of data that we can extract by mining for it, digging for it and exploring, etc. in this data. So it's a euphemism, right? Using the mining analogy from digging in the mountains and prospecting for gold, etc., to start to look at data and analytics for interesting knowledge. Does that make sense?
That's crazy. In the 1960s, like in my mind, data mining is something that happened with the internet age. So that's baffling to me that it was a thing in the 60s.
Well, it goes back to data warehousing and databases, and from the point of collecting data. I mean, you can do this on any data set, right? This is data mining is really just the exploration and looking for answers in data. So while our volume of data and advanced analytics and AI and machine learning and so on plays into this and helps make it easier and gives us some more techniques for doing it, the concept of looking for answers in data is actually pretty old. It goes back, like I said, to the 1960s and the early inventions of computers and doing, business intelligence and just reporting.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That's an ignorance on my own part. I was just like fascinated when you said that. Okay, so one of the things that you said was the idea of like extracting knowledge or evaluating knowledge to understand data more. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
So yes, so data in itself is just a raw commodity, right? You can collect data and you can collect sales data, weather data, all kinds of data you can collect, right? But that doesn't give you knowledge, right? The knowledge is essentially information with purpose, right? So you have knowledge, you know something not because you've got a collection of data, but you've inferred something more intelligent from that data, right? I can collect the miles on my car, right? My car collects data to say how many miles I've driven and that sort of thing. But that doesn't give me the knowledge to know that I've got to change the tires. I say that because I've got an appointment to change my tires later today. But
There you go.
But the car collects the data, but the knowledge to know that my tires are getting worn is knowledge that can be inferred from that data. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
you
that tracks.
collect the data, you use that to have information on the tires, and then you end up with the knowledge to add that you can actually make a decision on and take action on. Right? You don't necessarily take action on data, you take action on the knowledge that is inferred from the data.
So my brain of thinking that data mining is really kind of a big business, big internet thing is true, but also that data mining is something that we kind of do every day, but we
Yeah,
do it on
exactly.
our own.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, when you're shopping, just going shopping on Amazon, you're data mining. You're exploring a massive cadre of data that is the whole Amazon catalog of products that are available to find the one that you want. And then you make a decision based off it and say, okay, I'm going to buy this.
Yeah, okay.
So,
That all tracks for just like a personal use. But what
right.
about a business? Like what's a business implication of data mining or a business use case for data mining?
A business use case is anything that you don't know. And there's sort of standard data mining. Data mining is usually more the exploration of new information and new knowledge than necessarily just predictive analytics or straight analytics. So you could say, you could start to say things like sales data or sales patterns, right? Could be considered just analytics, right? What are the patterns in the Southeast United States for sales of warm coats in months, right? So that's usually straightforward analytics. But what if we were to start to say, can I correlate that? Can I, right? So this is now an exploration statement. Can I correlate that with weather patterns? Can I correlate that to hurricane season?
Oh,
That might be that's an interesting question, right? So we had a insurance patterns for risk. How does weather play into the insurance patterns for homeowner insurance? Can we correlate that for risk statistics? Proximity to high schools for girls' fashion, right? What are the sales patterns based off of proximity to high schools for target stores?
interesting.
Right? Does this correlate? Does this give us some interesting information that we could make some interesting decisions based off of to restock differently, treat our inventory differently, add extra promotions, make some other decisions? So it's the idea of presenting new and interesting questions and then mining for that answer. So think of it as a question and answer. I've got a large cadre of data and I've got this hypothesis, this interesting question that you're posing that says, how could I sell more? What are the dimensions that might allow me to sell more, do something differently, or whatever it might be, right? And can I pose that question and mine in my data for those nuggets, those precious metals that will give us that answer, that will say, yes, in California, proximity to high school is relevant. In West Virginia, it is less relevant. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but you can see where I can go in terms of asking some of these questions to start to change the patterns and be more responsive and more directive, if you like, in the way that you take something to market.
At D3C, we use the words data governance and master data management a lot. Do those things kind of correlate with data mining?
Yes, they do. I mean, the where we spend a lot of focus is having confidence in your data, right? So we've talked about the idea of having a large mountain of data and extracting those precious metals, those precious nuggets from that mountain, the mining concept. That's what we've talked about here. But how do you have confidence that that is the right metal that you found? How do you know that you can have confidence in that answer? Then you get into things like master data and start to say, okay, well, my customer base the individuals that have purchased from me is actually a very, very relevant set of data within my mountain, right? So whenever I'm talking about customers, I want customers always to be represented the same. Always, I want to have confidence in that customer so that whenever I'm joining or working my data around customer, I can have confidence that when I'm talking about Alexis, I'm always talking about the same Alexis. Right. So that, and I can then talk about the way that you purchase things or other things in the same way. And that's where we spend a lot of time on master data. Right. And getting that data correct so that when you mine for that answer, you can have confidence in that answer. Right. Because if you can't have confidence in your answer, then your question is largely irrelevant. Right. Because you can't act on it. It's going back to that knowledge. Do I know or do I just think? And then we get onto data governance. And data governance is, again, it's that confidence in that data. As I'm collecting data, how am I governing the way my business is operating, the way my data is operating and flowing, so that the data that arrives in my card or in my data warehouse or in my data lake or in my data environment, I've got confidence that it truly describes what it says it describes.
So if it was a flow chart, if you will, it would be like data governance, make sure that you're inputting the right information. Master data management is making sure that the information is correct, and data mining is extracting that information for like awesome stuff. Was that
exactly.
the non-technical kind of verbiage of that?
Exactly. So you've got the data governance is all the data in my organization is flowing into my data environment and into my data landscape, if you like. And does it describe what I say it describes? Is it always similar? Is it always correct? Is it populated enough? Is it the right level of quality? How do I govern that and make sure it describes what it says? And then the master data management says those key dimensions, those key areas of data, customer, people, places, and things, right? So are my people always described the same way? Are my places always described the same way? Do they all have valid addresses on them? Are my things, products, services, whatever they might be, described in the same way and described accurately? And they form the basis of your master data structures, right? People, places, things. Customers are people, products are things, and then places are deliveries or stores or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so definitely sounds like we are here to support people on their efforts to making sure that their information is correct and it's able to be used if data mining is what they're hoping to do. Would you say that's
right.
Correct?
Or, I mean, now data mining is less used as more analytics, right? So if you think about the analytics and the exploration of data, that's more and machine learning that going down the same path. So yes, we spend a lot of time in the data and understanding that data and understanding the questions that are being asked and understanding how do you refine an answer from the question and from the data that you have.
I love that. How do you refine an answer from the data that you have? That sounds like a perfect place to end this podcast, Data Dave. I love it. Feels like we have a lot of potential topics for next month's recording here. I've got a lot more questions, but we are running out of recording time. So thank you so much for talking with me today and answering my questions about data mining.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you have a question for Data Dave, reach out to us via email at talktech@day3clarity.com. We'll be happy to answer your questions in the podcast. Thanks. This podcast has been brought to you by Day3 Clarity. No one has time or patience to fix all of their data and infrastructure problems. Day3 Clarity helps some of the world's most recognizable brands take the right action to turn their information into strategic profit making. For more information, go to D3 Clarity, that's the letter D, the number 3, the word clarity.com.